we leave Detroit here at about 6 in the morning, so I could show him a little bit of, you know, Toronto. So we get up there, 10 o'clock. Now he's hungry because we hadn't eaten yet. So we're in downtown Toronto, and we find this little breakfast place. You know, it's very small. There was no seating, you know, per se, but there was 8 stools along a counter. So me and Andre walk in, and we sit on a stool. We were the only 2 people in there. And the proprietors were of Oriental descent. I think they were Chinese or Japanese. So anyway, you know, the husband was the cook, and the wife was the waitress. So she come up to the counter, and she looked up at Andre like this. It was like, oh, God, you know, it was like, oh, God, Godzilla, you know. You know, her eyes were this big, and the husband comes out of the kitchen, and his eyes are like, oh, my God. So anyway, you know, we look at the menu, and she comes, and I order, you know, the typical bacon and eggs and hash browns and, you know, water to drink. So Andre, you know, go ahead, Andre. So he says to the woman standing in front of him, he says, I would like half dozen egg, I would like 1 pound toast, and or half loaf toast, and 1 pound bacon. And this little woman, she stood there, didn't understand a word he said. I says, Andre, you know, tell her again. He goes, oh, sorry. I want half dozen egg. I want 1 pound bacon, and I want half loaf toast. So it's like, you know, he wants a half dozen eggs, 1 pound of bacon, and a half a loaf of toast. So anyway, she goes back to the kitchen. About 10 minutes later, they come back. She puts my plate in front of me, and she puts Andre's plate in front of him. Me and Andre looked at each other. We looked at his plate, and we belly laughed so hard. It was uncontrollable. We couldn't stop laughing. And, you know, his bellowing laugh, you know, you know, and this poor woman is standing there wondering what's wrong. So looking at his plate, there was a little bit of egg, there was 1 ration of bacon, and there was a half a slice of toast. And it's like, we started laughing again. We just couldn't stop. So anyway, she's there, and, you know, she's wondering, you know, in fear, what's going wrong. So I had to explain to her. I says, ma'am, he wants a half dozen eggs. 6 eggs. She goes, oh. And I says, he wants a pound of bacon. Oh. And I said, he wants a half a loaf of toast. She looked at me, looked at him, go, you gonna eat that? And we laughed for that for days. That was my breakfast with Andre.
That is a great story.